sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. This is MacDonald Carey, and these are the days of our lives.
Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. So, as the title suggests, Owen Kent is Stephanie's stalker on Days of Our Lives. I literally clicked on the wrong button and it just ended the stream instead of what it was supposed to do. So that was annoying. But I'm back. So we're going to be simply talking about that and much more. I'm going to be going pretty hot tonight, not going to lie, for just a couple of different reasons. Ed's in the chat, how you doing tonight? Sean is in the chat, how you doing tonight? Blackmon's in the chat, how you doing tonight? Ed said, just wanted to say two things before I go back to work. Ron is in the chat, how you doing tonight? Oh, your phone's acting up? I think it was literally the fact that I just like fucked up on my like literally just clicking the wrong button. Crystal is in the chat, how you doing tonight? As says, it's out of pocket for going behind Theo's back. Keep him out of running the marathon. I agree with that. I'm doing good, Black One. Doing good. Had a long day. Glad it's over. It wasn't a bad day. It was just a long day. It was a good day. Just like a 2:45 in the morning kind of day. No, Cherry, my birthday is in August. Yeah, August 22nd. I'm a Leo. Now we're good. Okay. Now we're good. But I hope you had a good day though. I hope you had a good day, Black Man. Yeah, I got a bit of a wow. Bit of a wow. We have that's good. A little bit of this. Alright, that was fun. But yeah, you know, they rushed to judgment. They and again, Ed, I agree with that. Yeah. Ed says Johnny is so disappointing for hiding his father's gift and letting Chanel attitude about how she feels about his father decide his point of view. Yes, it's very, but yeah. And this is exactly what I'm saying. He is literally the biggest demerit. The most disappointing demerit on the show. Why do you think I'm looking forward to both of them leaving the show? And I 100% agree with that. Autumn says, yeah, but Willow thinks she's doing something, but what is this girl don't realize is that she's just Sitwell's puppet. Well, I appreciate your comment. We're gonna talk about that. Let me get my drink, then I'll get my music, and we're gonna talk all about that. I already feel I don't know why. I know it's not empty, but I already feel like I need another bottle. 1 second, Ron. I already feel like I need another bottle. Thank you, Ed. You have a great night at work. Thank you for popping through for a hot minute. I hope I get to see you on Sunday. I don't really have feelings on that, Ron. I mean, it's just seems self-explanatory. Um, I don't really care one way or the other about Marlena being there for Kayla, and I don't really care about Brady helping Alex. Like, I don't have a profound take on it. So yeah, yeah. And this is my whole thing, Autumn. And I'm gonna be honest. Like, CBS has a really bad way of telling stories where they have to sit there and give um they have to pump up drama somehow. Because let's be honest, they probably want to sit there and mix up the couple, whatever. Was good Dolomitics? They want to sit there and mix up the couple and everything. But like Ivory is doing way too much, right? This girl is pretty and yet she still can't find a man. She is so much of a broken ass, let's be honest, she's so much of a broken ass woman that she has to literally micromanage her own niece's love life. I'm doing this for you. What do you mean you're doing this for? What do you mean you're doing this for her? And you know what she said today? What the fuck is my music? What she said today was really irritating. She was like, she told Daphne, she's like, do you know that Will slept with another woman before, um, before Electra? I was like, well, first of all, he didn't sleep with another woman. He got sexually assaulted by another woman because sleeping would imply that it was consensual. The fact that they blew past that just for another reason, be like, oh, he's so bad for her. He's so bad for her. I was like, we're just going to jump past that shit? Like, really? You came back to town. You started throwing yourself at Liam out of all people. You got rejected twice. So she ain't got shit going on in her life. She ain't got no friends. She ain't got no man. She ain't got a goddamn thing. And it's just, oh, I gotta break them up because it's not proper. I'm like, you can find a more interesting and better way to do that. Eagle says Peter August, aka Owen Kent, is going to be over the top like he was on GH. Poor stuff, all her losing men in one room helpless. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a division. I can tell you that much. What's good, Krista? Seriously, I don't. And you know what? You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm gonna get back to the CBS soaps. But really, listen, Autumn. I can't. I I can't be nice about it. I can't be nice about it with Ivory. And the thing is, like, you know, they can. Here's the thing: they can still make Ivory an interesting, scandalous kind of woman, but like they don't have anything else for her to do. So it's like now she's just been micromanaging. And granted, she's been doing that shit for a hot minute. But getting the days, they dropped the ball. So like Spider Quick was right, the rumors or whatever was right. It wasn't Jeremy, it was Owens. But like how do you go about doing that? So like for a whole hour or a whole 40 minutes or whatever, you had Stephanie Smith there just imagining that she was talking to Jeremy the entire time. You couldn't find a better way to sit there and do that reveal. This is my whole thing. As much people as much as everyone has given 1 second, Ron. As much as people have given um I'm gonna get to that in a minute, Ron. As much as people give shit about GH and including myself, this is the reason why Days is very hard for Days to sit there and beat GH. 30 minutes of us there thinking that she is talking to Jeremy and we're like, oh wow, it was really Jeremy that actually kidnapped Stephanie just for today to be like, oh, Jeremy was somehow able to find Stephanie when a goddamn everybody, including a super PI, couldn't sit there and do it. But Jeremy finds her, and it turns out that it wasn't even Jeremy that was stalking her. Then Ivy had the nerve to tell Daphne and said, I always thought there was like, it's funny, Autumn, her snitch just saying, well, you better stay out of this, or else what? No, no, no. You said you better stay out of it, or else what? And I'm not gonna lie, women like that really pisses me off. Okay. Ivy got all up in Daphne's face because she was from Paris. She wouldn't dare sit there and step to somebody who came from New York or heaven forbid Brooklyn. She got all up in the face talking, well, you better not sit there and say anything. Or else what are you gonna do? Like what are you gonna do? She is way more famous than you are. She's bringing way more clout, way more money than you have, Ivan. Yeah, you made your jewelry and it's great and everything like that, but she's the fucking nose of Paris. So what do you think that you're going to be able to do to her to shut her up? Like seriously. Holly is a good actress. Holly is a good actress. I do generally like her character. Out of all four of them that are leaving, Holly is the only one that's worth a damn. Um, oh, there was a lot going on, Ron, in the promo for Days. So, I mean, it's going to be exciting. Pauline is still going to be her usual annoying ass self, like she always is. Um, just Days of Our Lives, general pain in the ass. But you know who's even worser than her? Every single time that they show Bonnie. Bonnie is like Bonnie is like when you have to go to the doctor and like draw blood, but they miss your vein, so they have to sit there and keep poking you until they find your vein to take it out. I forgot his name. There's one actor that cries about police brutality. I don't get it. Are you talking about? Oh, oh, Theo, Theo. Are you talking about the actor? The actor's name? I know the character's name is Theo. Okay. What, the actor complains about police brutality or the character? The character on the show. Oh, the character. Okay. Okay. Ron, yeah, Bonnie is a pain in the ass. I don't have anything good to sit there and say about her, Ron. She's a pain in the ass. She's annoying. I know she's supposed to bring the comedy or whatever their version of comedy is, but she's a pain in the ass. Every time that Bonnie's there, she's a pain in the ass. What's good, Danny Bear? How you doing tonight? Yeah, I know. Here's the thing. I know some people love their comedy in these soaps, even when it's done in the most piss poor manner possible. But like, um, yeah, that shit just does not resonate with me at all. I'm doing good, Danny. I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. Um, no, I'm 2 episodes behind this week. I well, they did actually say, I'm not. I hope I'm not spoiling this for you, but the actor that plays John Paul, he's leaving the show. I will sit there and say this much about Hollyoaks. So Hollyoaks will sit there and announce like, "Yo, listen, this person is leaving or whatever. It's my last day." Da 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 da. Like they will sit there and say it won't be like a top secret thing like on um these other soaps. See no mask on, just being on. I know. No, I didn't. I don't. Maybe Ron. I gotta go back and watch it. I don't remember. It was so fast. I'm not gonna lie. It was so damn fast. I think we're talking about a different John Paul. Danny Bear. Okay, that's cool. That's cool, Dolmetics. I just like I said, I just like the fact that they they'll sit there and let us know it won't be like this mystery sort of thing. Oh no, Danny Bear. We're talking about a character from a show called Hollyoaks. He played, the actor plays a character named John Paul. Not Days is um Philip. I'm not gonna lie, I am so sick and tired of Paulina always pointing her fucking finger at somebody. Like it literally just makes me want to just reach inside the TV screen and just want to break in that shit, to be honest. Now, okay. Um no, the answer to the question, Rod, no, Liam is not in the promos. I don't know. No. I don't really listen to spoilers and stuff like that, so I can't even sit there and say, Ron. I just don't know. Which, by the way, Danny Bear, it is actually a good show, and it's on YouTube for free. Like it is so goddamn convenient. Like 20 minutes, and things just happen. Um, but I'm gonna watch the 2 episodes this week. Um, but yeah, the actor that's playing Owens Kent. Here's the thing. He's always been like the. It's always been a division with him. There's some people that don't like his acting. They find him to be over the top and all the other stuff. And then there's some people that actually do like him. You should. You should, Danny Bear. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Dolomex and DC was they're trying to get me to watch this soap opera for like at least 2 years. Um, and I checked it out, and it took like a week, but I was like, "Yo, this show, like, things happen, like when things go down, it goes down quick. Like 20 minutes, you're just like, Oh wow, okay. But yes, Ron, I want them to get on their knees and apologize. But yeah, no, I get it, Eagle. Like, he's like I said, the actor is very, very divided. I personally like his stuff, but like, it's a to each their own sort of thing. Which is, it's actually really interesting though, man. It's just like I don't generally watch it all together. I don't generally watch them all together. Like, like if I don't watch episode 1 or 2 or 3, I would just watch one of the episodes. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather just watch them separately than try to just do it all together. Um, than do it in that one whole take. I don't know why. I think it's just easier to keep track. Who was that older dude kissing on Gabby's kid? He asked for a number after that. She gave it to him. Liam. And honestly, tell you the truth, I don't know how much older Liam is compared to Ari. Um, but I'm not gonna lie. I can already sit there and see the comments. Um, because I feel like it's the same crowd that didn't like um Holly and Doug the third. They were sitting there acting like well, not really, Eagle. I mean, there's a lot of sometimes we have guys sit there and hook up with women and they have kids. You know, I've seen so many shows when a guy will sit there and hook up with a woman who has a kid from a previous relationship. So she's legal. No, I get it. I get it. And like I said, Eagle, it's going to be another you know division, right? Some people are going to find it weird. Other people are going to be like, hey, you know what? Listen, she's 18. So, but either way, it's all opinionated. Yeah, and that's true too, Dolomatics. Yeah, I mean, listen, they got cougars. They named the term cougars for a reason. Yeah, like I said, I remember Doug the third. When he was going out with Holly, and personally for me, I was like, I don't really see the big deal, but like, yeah, it was the same thing with Carly. When Jocelyn was not there going out with. I'm not answering that question, Ron. Um, when I forgot his name. Actually, I actually liked him too, Vaughn. You know, like Carly kind of made a little comment like, "Oh well, he's so much older than her." I was like, Carly, relax. Bill Max says Kate was com- competing with her great granddaughter's mother over a younger guy, and Kate was holding her own. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to sit there and see how Kate looked back then. Um, again, this is something. just going back on GH for a hot minute. Like this is something that just been annoying the living shit out of me. Carly and her stupid ass plan, and the fact that like Tony Jones, Danny Bear, Tony Jones, um, she keeps talking about, I gotta save Jocelyn, I gotta save my daughter. I was like, first of all, you don't respect your daughter. You don't respect your daughter. You don't respect her enough. And I understand, like, okay, cool, yeah, she's lying about this or whatever, but like, respect her enough to respect her decision. At the very least, if you don't like it, talk to her. Stop acting like she's some 10-year-old little girl or like she was some 16-year-old girl that signed a contract while she was drunk. Like, oh, I gotta sit there and save her. Like, and this has been her stupid ass motivation for this acidine ass story that has been going on for way too fucking long. I mean, yeah, Ron, it's an annoying, it's it's annoying as part of days, but it is what it is. You kind of suffer for the things that you generally like, even if you have to sit there and sit through all the shitty parts or whatever that show has. Like Leslie and Vanessa, even sometimes Nicole, like as good as she looks, sometimes she can just be irritating too. Being jealous and upset that Carlton wasn't around for her to sit there and hang out with. If Vanessa Smithy trying to get her tips on, oh, this is how you got to get Carlton back into the fold. I was like, Nicole, listen, you may look good, but the world does not revolve around you. Like, the world does not revolve around you. That man can sit there and see somebody else or whatever. No, girl, you do not get to sit there and have your cake and eat it too. That's not how the world works. Oh shit. Seriously, Jerry. And and that's the thing. And I get that though, Max. I do. I get it. And I think this is another reason why most people are just kind of giving this shit a pass. Because she's having her own story. But I can't sit there and help but like criticize. Me. It's just not my nature. Like, but I understand the fans being like, okay, finally, this is a Carly centric story. I can't let that shit go because she's this whole helicopter bullshit. Like, it's just not my nature. Like, it's just not. Leslie does too much every fucking week. Like, and that's the thing. And granted, this is another thing that like, this is me going back to hating on Beyond the Gates. Because apparently this is what I do now. Every time Leslie's on, I remember she sat there and said today, she was like, well, Teddy, I'm not going to sit there and leave until I get my point across. I was like, cool. So we're all gonna have to sit and suffer through 5 minutes of you sitting there sound like a stereotype and just going on and on and on and using your stupid little catchphrases. Listen, I know that there are people that love her character, that find her, as the older people call it, a hoot. But like, you know, when she's not entertaining some people, she is a fucking chore to sit there and watch. Is it her story, or is she just jumping in on her daughter's story? Her last real story was when she was in. Yes, that's true. That's true. But listen, this is something that she's doing that's a little bit different than the mob stuff or the stuff with Sunny, whatever. So I get why people are giving her a pass. That's. I've heard that term passed around a couple of times. Um, I'm stupid enough to sit there and read some of the idiotic comments when I'm watching a certain clip. I remember I had to sit there and look that shit up one time. I can see that. I can see that, Sean. Yes, Ron, I saw that comment the first time. I haven't really got a chance to sit there and watch his video, so it'll be nice. It ain't different. She just saying WSB instead of mob. It ain't different. She's just saying WSB instead of the mob. Um, what else is going on? You know, not soon enough, Ron. Not soon enough. You know, days tend to drop the ball when it comes towards adding characters in sometimes. So, um, what I was gonna sit there and say. You know, here's my thing with Trina. So Trina made nice with her mom today, and you know everything's all good and happy, joy, joy. You know, my problem with that is that at this point, I don't care anymore. Like, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that like she made up with her mom and she's not being all bratty and all bitchy and being judgmental. And I think that's a good thing for for my patients. But other than that, other than that, I'm like, girl, I'm gonna be honest. I still don't like your ass. Um, I think it's gonna sit there and take some time to sit there and kind of like, you know, in my personal opinion. But I will sit there and say that I am loving Sitwell more and more every single fucking day. When he said, listen, that scene was just great. When he sat there, he was like, "Oh, you doing an SOS? Yeah, I don't care. Oh, yeah, by the way, I know that your wife did this to you, and guess who helped? I did. I haven't noticed that, Ron. No, I can't sit there and say I haven't noticed that. I mean, when I think of Everett Lynch, I just think about another character that Days of Our Lives have failed. So, yeah. But like, so he was the one that was working with Willow. He's the one that sat there and supplied Willow with that drug that is paralyzing him. And when he sat there and said, he was like, "Hey, listen, you can do SOS to a lot of people. Do you think anybody is going to help you after the way that you have been acting and treating half the people in this damn town?" In all reality, the dude did threaten him before, so why the fuck would you sit there and think that Sitwell, out of all people, is going to help you? It's just like, but like I said, um, Willow being a congresswoman. Well, let's be honest, like that that interview was just so piss poor bad. Like, Lulu was supposed to be this gutsy person and stuff like that. And listen, I get it. She didn't want to sit there and be like dropping the hammer on her, but like every time she asked Willow a question, Nina answered for her. I'm like, Nina, do you wanna sit there and run for congresswoman instead? Like, Maxie was not afraid, so would say he looked hella annoyed when. And thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up, Danny Bear. What is Maxie's plan? This is this is where I have to sit there and look at that with like Maxie. You do realize that you needed the Zenkai, which is why you decided to work with Sitwell, even though you knew that he had a sketchy ass past because you have 3 kids and a house that you clearly can't afford. You decide to work with Sitwell. What changed that? Oh, because he's doing a job that y'all don't really know much about. Well, he also kidnapped and did things to like Lucky and Anna and other people that Sasha set right in front of you, and you were fine with that. You needed the Zenkai. Did you find a way to sit there and get more Zenkai? We get Nina from Airport Charles. Only have someone beat Laura. You know, the sad thing is that Laura actually beating Laura is such a low bar at this point. And you know what? Here's the thing. I felt so bad for Boyles. You know, Laura being like, "Well, are you proud of Nick there being sit? Are you proud of being Sitwell's lapdog?" I'm like, Laura, what do you think you are? Remember, remember, you're the one that decided to call Sonny the local mobster instead of calling the cops, the FBI, or fucking Interpol. So you're getting exactly what you're gonna get. I think Lulu recognized Willow's sidestepping. Yes, she did. I didn't see it. Um, so you know, again, that's my whole point with Maxie. I'm just like, what's your great? Because here's the thing: I saw people in the comment section, like when that scene was being played, and they was like, "Yeah, Maxie, you go, girl." I was like, what are you talking about? You go, girl. Like, what did she do? The only thing that you did was cut yourself off at the knees. Besides the fact that, like, yeah, good luck trying to win that in court. What's good, Deluxe? Did you find a way to sit there and get some more Zenkai? You know, your main ingredients to whatever goop that y'all snit they're cooking up at that lab? Like, I don't, I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what was the whole "you go girl" sort of thing about. Like, what did you actually do? I mean, I understand she stood up to Sitwell, but like, I was like, honestly, to tell you the truth, the only thing you wound up doing was making Sitwell mad enough to put your ass 6 feet under. Sitwell, yeah, and I would love Sitwell to sit there and put Maxie 6 feet under. But apparently, I think that she kind of forgot who the fuck she's fucking with. Like Quick says, still haven't watched Days. I'm starting to rewatch Monday What Happened, and did Owens reveal himself today? Yeah, he did. He did. I would sit there and say that much. He revealed himself today. And, you know, again, the reveal was, I don't understand why people isn't there trying to like, you all like, yeah, Maxie, you go, girl, you do it. I'm like, what did you do? And I understand she put Sitwell on notice, but like the only thing that she wound up doing was putting a damn target on her back again. I think so, Domax. Yeah, I mean, Deluxe. Yeah, because Felicia also signed on to that. No, she. It was a hallucination. It was a hallucination. Oh, and you know, it's very quick. You're right. Yeah. Oh, Danny Bit. It was the same actor. The same. So it was the same actor that played Owens originally. And I'm not gonna lie, Spider Quick. This is where Days gives me issues. Okay? And Maxie got all upset about Sonny giving Deception money. But yeah, no, she was totally cool with working with Sitwell. Oh, okay, all right, that's interesting, Danny. Okay, I'm gonna sit there and say this again. This is where Days of Our Lives lost me. For 30 minutes, Apparently, Stephanie was talking to hallucination for 30 goddamn minutes. They made us sit there and think that it was actually Jeremy, right? For 30 minutes. And then today, Jeremy comes in, which, by the way, I love how Jeremy was able to sit there and find Stephanie when fucking half of Salem PD and the super spy slash um slash PI couldn't sit there and find her. And then it turns out, oh, it was Owens. Like, what? I love Days of Our Lives. I will continue to watch Days of Our Lives, no matter how much of a train wreck it can be. But like that, the way that they revealed Owens was so fucking stupid. Like, I know that John must got like limited amount of funds being on like a streaming service, but like it didn't. Well, I don't. Okay, first, let me take a drink before I read that again. Hold on. Stephanie was dreaming. It was really obvious to me. I don't know why people thought it was real because they presented it like it was real. I mean, seriously, unless they did something in that episode that let people know that it was a dream, you just had to sit there and guess. You gotta sit there and guess. I gotta essentially pick up the pieces because Days of Our Lives was too fucking lazy to sit there and come up with a more clever way than just. I guess we're just supposed to assume that it was a dream. Again, this is why, as much as I love Days, and as much shit as I give GH, this is the reason why Days of Our Lives has a hard time beating GH. They can do it every once in a while, but overall, no, and not with shitty ass storytelling like that. Yeah, they're absolutely right. I, as the fan, has to sit there and pick up on clues. I'm not gonna lie. It fucking irritates. It literally irritates the life out of me. But I'm gonna move on. Move on. Gonna move on. Yeah, it just. Here's the thing. I just remember watching it today. When I was on my lunch break, and I come back. I got my drink and everything, and my overpriced breakfast, and I'm just like, wow. Ugh. Like I said, listen, I give G shit. I give them their crap, okay? And I will continue to sit there and give them their crap. But when you gotta sit there and tell stories like that, Lordy Lord Lord. Okay, now again, what, Danny Bear, now I gotta go back and have to look at that if I'm not too tipsy. I gotta go back and look at that. God damn, it's like they really wanna have you like work for it. But that was definitely extra today. The sad thing is, I don't even like Chelsea. I've said that from day one. But like, Kat turned up on Chelsea so much. I was like, girl, what's your problem? Your dumbass decides to mix it up with Leslie out of all people. Didn't get the results that you wanted. So you want to sit there and go to your cousin and be like, oh, well, I'm moving out. And then get like super hypersensitive and start throwing attitudes with her. I'm like, yo, I don't even like Chelsea, but like, damn, girl, you doing too damn much. Um, Listen, I like Cat, but like, I'm like, girl, there's times when you could just be a little bit too fucking much. Um, the sad, the sad thing is though, like, okay, so like, Cat was definitely doing too much, right? And there's a lot of times that she'll just do too much, and yet somehow I can sit through a Cat scene and be like, all right, girl, you too much. But with like Vanessa, her crying about Doug, like, I'm not gonna lie, that just, I can't with Vanessa. She's not there talking about her, how her business is doing good and stuff like that. I was like, you mean your man whore business? Is that what you sent there talking about? You being a pimp and everything. 'Cause I'm like, come on, girl, let's have real talk for a hot minute. She's like, oh well, my clients are so happy and stuff. You mean because of the minute you pimp out, right? Like, why were you sit there trying to talk about this shit like this is supposed to be some sort of glorious endeavor? I'm like, girl, you're pimping out a bunch of fucking man whores. Let's be real. Let's not try to call it. She keeps not there trying to call it like it's a business or whatever. I was like, yeah, it's a business. It's a business where you know. And don't get me wrong. I'm not here to sit there and shame sex workers. It is what it is. But like, I was like when Kat was talking about us the other day, but she back to being annoying. That girl is always fucking extra. Like, she be extra just for the sake of being extra sometimes. And the sad thing, right? Like, Vanessa scenes are obviously annoying. Leslie scenes are annoying. Um, this fucking cancer story is so fucking depressing. Like, it really is. I remember I was watching Kyrie's stream. Even he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this shit is super depressing." But on a brighter note, for some people, um, on my way to work, and I always check out people's different channels and stuff. And I saw Michelle Stafford, aka Phyllis Summers. I'm sorry, Phyllis Summer Newman on JOJ. Under the weather. Yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Sean. I hope you feel better. Yeah, I'll sit there and see you on Sunday. Thank you for coming through, as always. But yeah, I saw Phyllis on JRJ Media. I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. Well, no, seriously, thank you for coming through, Sean. Yeah, it definitely sucks getting sick. I'm not even gonna lie, it sucks. It sucks as getting sick. Lauren supports. Well, I mean, like they're friends. Like here's the thing. I don't even like Phyllis, but her kids are so disappointing. Daniel doesn't have a job. Okay. I consider Daniel just to be a fucking bum and a loser. The dude doesn't have a job, but yet he has time to sit there and play music with Tessa, right? Summers, Summers is upset with what Phyllis did. But I'm like, how often was you upset with your grandfather on how many times that he screwed over Phyllis? That Nikki looked at Phyllis like she was lowered in dirt and wasn't good enough for your dad. You know, it just it's like this level of selective outrage. Just fucking like it just seriously blows me. And also, I mean, listen, Kane. Listen, I will never understand. I will never understand why Billy Flynn left Days of Our Lives to go on the Young and the Restless. I'm just not gonna understand that. But with that being said, like, bro, you you really are, for somebody who made their money really quick or whatever, even with the help of your dad, like you really are stupid. How many times did Phyllis sit there and say because of Neil and their relationship, he's not gonna hurt he's not gonna sit there and hurt he's not gonna sit there and hurt Lily and the twins. So I saw on the previews, well now he has Jack, right? Now he somehow kidnapped Jack Abbott. I'm just like, listen, I love the Young and the Restless at times, even when they do things that just befuddles me. But now he done kidnapped Jack. He's like, hey, listen, if we don't get back Chancellor, you'll never see your brother again. The fuck are we doing at this point? I mean, part of me is like, okay, listen, I appreciate y'all stepping outside your comfort zone, doing something that maybe GH would do or whatever. But like, this motherfucker is so hard up and bad for like, I gotta get back my company. Now you're just like straight up just kidnapping people? Like, really? I love Victoria, but Victoria, girl, you are another person that is just a mess. Okay. You're cool with your dad sitting there taking over Erebus using the illegal program to sit there and do so. But when Phyllis does it, oh my God, I'm gonna sit there and get you arrested. Like, what? Even Billy had a point when Billy was like, where were you when your dad was sitting there constantly coming at me? Victoria, I get loyalty to a point. But like I feel like every time she talks, she has to know that you are just being a giant fucking hypocrite. You're just being a damn hypocrite. And listen, everyone sits there and look at Nikki, which sometimes I like Nikki, but like Nikki, let's be honest, you don't want to lose that lifestyle. I remember she sat there and she was like, listen, it's not about the prestige or the money or the power, girl. That's exactly what it's about. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you gonna sit there and act like your jewelry collection, your yacht trips, your private planes and stuff like that. You're not gonna miss that? Yeah, exactly. Shut the fuck out. Like, uh, that that family, even Chelsea and her. I mean, granted, I get it. It's like you have to sit there and be team Newman or whatever. Like you know, because one minute she goes from bitching and complaining about a job, like she didn't know that she was taken from Victor Newman, to her they're coming at Sally all sideways. But even Sally has like this story has just turned people so acidine and backwards. Sally, you want to sit there and be upset that Billy took Chancellor and be like, oh, I'm breaking out with you. But I will sit there and keep Newman Enterprises. So you're mad at him. You said all the things like, oh, well, you felt like you weren't enough. and you want to break up with him, but you want to sit there and keep a present that he gave you. Yeah, okay, sure, that whatever, that makes sense. By the way, Trip, I mean not Trip, but the actor that played Trip is on the show. And Kayla today was like, yeah, Joey and Trip, they really want to sit there and be here. And part of me was like, yeah, well, we know that Trip can't be here because, well, he's too busy shacking up with his mom. See, that's one of the downsides about like watching multiple soaps, because the only people that's actually affected and is sitting there thinking that this story is like very yucky is the people that watch both Days of Our Lives and Young and Restless. Like for me, I'm able to sit there and separate it, but like for some people, like ew, it's gross because it's new and it's whatever. And it's like they're just looking at it as mother and son, and I get that, but that's the price that you pay for watching multiple soaps. Um, Danny Bear says, "I need Victoria to shut up." Victoria, I just, I'm not gonna lie. I can't with Victoria. I know that that's her dad. She loves her dad. She wants to be loyal. I get all that, right? But my whole thing is like, while she's sitting there being all like, "Well, you're doing this legal, and I'm gonna convince your daughter to sit there and help me out with convincing you." I was like, let me get this straight, Victoria. You're gonna use somebody else's kids to help you in this fight, but having a hell will be the day that you would let somebody else will sit there and use your kids for whatever nefarious ideas that you got going on. Like the fact of the matter is, she is doing something that's very deplorable that she wouldn't want done to her. Oof. Trip and Wendy. What's good, Jonathan? Trip and Wendy, the definition of cringe. I'm not gonna lie. A really good day was when Trip and Wendy, when Trip and Wendy was actually not on the show. Yet wanting to turn Kane and Phyllis in for using the same program her daddy. Yeah, and that's exactly. That's why I was like, girl, you are like. Here's the thing. I feel like the. Johnson says I had a feeling that Jeremy being the kidnapper was too obvious. They went into okay. You may not like some of the stuff I'm going to sit there and say, Jonathan, but it needs to be said. Okay? I'm not going to be all rainbows and sunshine. I just want you to know that the way that they went about this reveal was very piss poor. Now, apparently, Danny Bear saw this whole thing and she knew it was obviously her hallucinating or daydreaming. But for me, I was like, this was a very shitty ass way of going about it. For 30 something minutes, they made us, or apparently me, believe that Jeremy was the one that kidnapped her. And then today they're like, oh no, it's not Jeremy, it's Owen's Kent. And I'm like, wait, hold on, what are we doing? Now apparently I must have missed a giant fucking detail that Stephanie woke up. I'm not gonna lie, I still didn't fucking see it, but like this is my thing, Jonathan. This is what keeps Days of Our Lives from being just good to great. Yeah, exactly. It was very obvious to Danny. It was not. Yeah, exactly, Jonathan. Exactly. It was all just one big hallucinogenic. I say that with that look on my face. Yeah, exactly. She woke up at the end of the episode. Now, Jonathan thought it was Owens in the mask, which would have been stupid, but it would have been a lot better than her just fucking hallucinating the whole thing for a half an hour. Jonathan, I'm gonna sit there and say this right now. This is what keeps Days of Our Lives from toppling General Hospital. Okay? When they do stupid shit like this. But yeah, nah, that's exactly what I'm gonna. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. That's exactly what I'm gonna do, Danny Brown. That's exactly what I'm gonna do because I'm just. All right, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not gonna continue harping on that. Um, I'm disappointed, but I'm gonna move on. Um, Holly's flipping out, right? Holly is continuing to crash out. Rachel had the right idea about not picking up the phone when crazy ass Sophia. Yeah, I got to look into that more, Jonathan. I heard that Netflix decided to be like, yeah, no, we're gonna peace out. We're not gonna sit there and keep giving you people more money or bidding more money. No, we're good. Looks like EJ brung Owens back. He's in the lab with EJ. How the fuck? Okay, I'm sorry. No. Okay, let me. No. Hold on. I'm not ignoring anyone. Apparently I'm just missing a bunch of shit that I should have fucking saw. So hold on. No. His thing. He's in the promo, but he's not with EJ though. Now Danny Rich says look like EJ brung Owens back. He's in the lab. No, he's not in the lab. He's not in the lab. But how are you saying it looks like EJ brung Owens back? Well, okay, you know what? Why don't you explain how did he bring Owens back? Like back from the dead? You mean? Oh, and they also think that Holly is, using using hugs. Just put a D in front of it. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, I would hope it would be something. Oh, okay. But could you? Okay, but listen. That brings me to another point. Can you trust it? Listen, Danny. You've been around the block. You know how these Facebook profiles work, right? Like they rely on clicks and stuff like that. So like deep fakes or just somebody if they're trying to get some clicks onto their channel. You got to be hella careful, is what I would sit there and say. You know, from a soap mag. Okay. You know, it's really funny. We sat there and we talked about so much stuff, and we did not talk about Chase Harrison. I mean, Harrison Chase. We did not sit there and talk about Harrison Chase and the fact that he's defending Willow to the death. And, you know, some people have sat there and said that he's a dirty cop. I don't think he's a dirty cop, but I do think that he is skirting around the law. He is becoming untrustworthy. Yeah, me either, Jonathan. He is skirting. He is skirting the law. He is obsessed with Michael being guilty. People have sat there and said that he is doing this out of revenge, right? Listen, I will sit there and keep an objective mind with that. Exactly, Jonathan. But see, I wouldn't sit there and say he is a dirty cop. I wouldn't sit there. I'm not going to go that far and sit there and say that. It's funny because, like, I was encouraged to stream, and I'm not going to say this person's name, but they was like, Harrison Chase is a good man. He's a very good cop, and I was like, uh, that's not entirely true. I mean, my whole thing is like, listen, you are just like one of the things he said. Because here's the thing, it just comes down. This comes down to a lot of anger. He's like, I don't like the fact that Michael kept the kids away from Willow. Okay, I mean, listen, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. But at the end of the day, and he didn't learn shit from that too, Jonathan. Um, but my whole thing is like, you're only looking at it from her point of view. You're only looking at it from, oh my God, Willow's missing the kids. Did you ever stop to sit there and think why Michael decided to not have Willow around the kids? Did you take a look at that? Did you ask him? No, you just jumped to conclusion and it just felt like he was being a big fucking meanie. When there's a point where Chase isn't there saying to, or isn't there saying to Michael, like, listen, when she cheated and she was whatever, you never forgave her. Listen, and I'm just gonna sit there and call you bitch boy for a minute. Just because you forgave Willow for cheating on you with Michael doesn't mean that Michael has to sit there and forgive Willow for cheating on him. Like that is so fucking out of pocket. That you just want Michael to forgive Willow because you forgave Willow. Not everyone has to sit there and forgive somebody. You have the option of never forgiving someone. I don't know how healthy that is, but you have the option. Like he wasn't just saying he's a dirty cop because of what he did. Not really on anyone's side in the Michael Willow story, but I kind of get why Chase is capping so hard for Willow. Chase was the one with her when she learned she lost her. Yeah, and that's the thing. And I here's the thing, and I can get behind that. And I can get behind that. Like I could. But see, my whole thing is like, I mean, this is definitely something that leans more to the emotional side. And I'm glad you brought that up. Because it definitely leans more to the emotional side, right? So and that's actually a really good point. Like, always learn something new. Part of me is like, I probably shouldn't have another drink. because I do have to be up at some point in time in the morning. When he really wants to. And I, granted that makes sense. But it's a certain level of like, bro. It's a tough conundrum. Like I said, I wouldn't sit there and say that Chase is a dirty cop, but his level of objectivity has definitely been skewed. And like Jonathan said, he made the same mistake with now. I mean, hell, I think that was probably one of the reasons why he got transferred to Port Charles, was because of his fuck up with whatever department he was in before. Probably mentally still picturing that crying woman. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And see that's the thing, right? Because even with all of this, I can sit there and try to see Chase's point of view. Maybe I can do that because, like, you know, I'm on this side. I do reviews, and I always sit there and try to look at it from different angles because I feel like if we just look at it from emotional angle, it's very easy for you to sit there and jump to a conclusion or stick with a conclusion and not bother to sit there and try to see any point of view or downplay any other points of views. But I yeah, he's 100% correct. Like I get I get the Michael betray and anger, but I get what chases to no one else got to see her. Yeah, being in that moment and everything like that can definitely sit there and change things. You know, just on a side note, because I just took a peep at the Young and Restless. You know, Kyle is being all nice and everything like that to Claire. But see, Kyle doesn't know that Claire and the hell's his name? The new guy. Fucking well, I've been drinking, but not Nate. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I can't remember his name. What is his name? Um Claire slept with Holden. I wonder because here's the thing, like, I just took like a quick 20-second look. But granted, listen, he's been being really nice and you want to sit there and go out with her a couple of times. I feel like that feeling is going to change when he finds out that she slept with with Holden. The thing is, most men are very territorial, and I know it sounds kind of bad, but like the fact that he's going to be sitting there thinking about some other man putting their hands and God knows whatever else on this woman is going to like not discard her, but like I don't know. Like I said, we're very territorial, you know, and it's almost like it's almost kind of like in a animal sort of way, where it's like just in like instincts. We're just gonna be like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not. Nope. No, we're not hooking up or anything like that. That's why sometimes I sit there and I look at Nicole and Carlton and Kyle stuff, and I'm just like, how do you sit there and be? I'm like, listen, I get it. Nicole looked good, but like, your mind doesn't wonder like what else Carlton or Kai wasn't there. Kai wasn't there doing Nicole, what she was doing, what body parts. Like, I mean, granted, I have this thing called self respect, so I couldn't be in a situation like that. But like, I just couldn't imagine being with somebody who was probably with somebody either the day before or a week before. Because my mind is gonna fucking go there. I kind of was like, what am I talking about? I was like, oh yeah, the whole Claire and Kyle and Holden. For people that watch or know about the Young and the Restless, I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's gonna feel differently about cute and innocent Claire Bear when he finds out that Claire was not being so innocent or anything else that night. Because I see him all like smiling and laughing and looking at her. I'm like, yeah, bro, that innocent look is definitely going to sit there and change. I just, I feel like Chase is they're taking it to like a whole nother level with the whole like manipulate, like she said, manipulating his fellow officers. Um, there could have been a better way of going about that. There really could have been a better way of going about that, but like he decided to essentially kind of take the law into his own hands. And like, bro, you just got demoted. You just got demoted after you swore up and down, hey, listen, I'll take whatever punishment that they're going to sit there and give me. Really, bro? Really? A whole 2 weeks of him sitting there bitching and complaining. Well, what does he decide to do? Oh, he decides to sit there and take keys and manipulate it, all this other bullshit. I'm like, bro, now my issue is the fact that you are putting Brooklyn in a very awkward and messed up position where she has to sit there and essentially kind of choose you over her family or vice versa. She said he will back off and focus on adoption, but will. I mean, that's another thing, right? Like, and it's funny too. I said that sometime this week. And Josh definitely deserves it. But like, I said that this week. I was like, you just told your wife that you're gonna back off and just focus on the adoption. So you just lied to her face. I mean, if you decide to sit there and keep doing what you're doing, you just lied to her face. There's a point where Brooklyn's like, I don't even know if we're gonna be able to live here. She said that as a joke, but I'm like, the fact that she has to sit there and even be in that position is fucking ridiculous. Oh yeah, exactly. He's been very fucking hypocritical. He's been very hypocritical. I just, the sad thing is like I get that part of me thinks, well, it made it seem like he was a little jealous. He was like, just because he has money, status, and a name and everything like that, doesn't mean he gets to get away with crime or shooting Drew and setting up Willow. I was like, so is this about a like you feel like because he's elite that he's gonna get away with it? Like you resent him for his money? Like what is it? And the fact that he's talking about this whole Captain America truth and justice and this, that, and the third, but like, bro, if it was about truth and justice, you wouldn't just be sitting there looking at Michael. What's good, Jay Blue? You wouldn't just be sitting there looking at Michael. You just wouldn't. It would just, this whole this whole goddamn thing is just so like I said, we talked about Maxie. Um, we're just essentially, I don't know exactly what she's doing. I've seen a lot of people commenting her, bravoing her, and everything like that. But yeah, Jonathan, it's funny. I mean, that's what I heard this weekend. I mean, that's what I heard this week. Um, that this was about revenge, which I mean, it could be possible. It would be really sad if it is. I mean, how Jace, but I've seen the spoiler about Gannon visiting Trina. That sounds creepy and overstepping. No, it honestly, tell you the truth, Jay Blue, it was exactly what Trina needed. No, it was not. It was not overstepping. It was not creepy. It was her simply reminding Trina that she's being a brat. She's being bitchy. She is being a hypocrite. She is being ungrateful, and it got her to snap out of all that. Because honestly, tell you the truth, here's the thing: somebody needed to sit there and get real with Trina. And since her tiptoeing of a mother couldn't sit there and get the job done, he had to sit there and take matters into his own hands. So, moving forward for a little bit, we won't get to sit there and see that bratty version of Trina, which is all so welcoming. So, in all reality, Isaiah did, well, personally, me and most of the people who has been annoyed as hell that they're dealing with her. You know, I get it. I'm just listen. I guess for me personally, I'm just glad because um, listen, they just been ruining the Trina character. Nobody likes this judgmental, bratty version of her, right? And I guess for me, I just am I the only one who can't see you? And sleepy. Let me see something. No, no, I'm still here. And Sleeping Beauty. Oh, Shakira's back. You know what the sad thing is? I guess, and this is just me personally. Can What's good, CK? Can everybody else see me? I mean, I can see myself from my end, but like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Shakira. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Danny Bear. Okay, thank you, CK. All right. So, okay, all right, good. Yeah, of course, Shakira, of course. Oopsies. Okay, there we go. But yeah, I just like I said, I and listen, I will sit there and say this much. Let me start with this fucking echo. I know most people like that scene between Trina and Portia. And I guess for me, I'm just like, and granted, this is just me. It's like I know that they have like a nice mother and daughter scene, but honestly, to tell you the truth, I still don't like Trina. Like I'm gonna be honest, like I still don't like Trina. Like she has been a pain in the ass for so long that it's going to take a little bit longer for me to actually kind of readjust, or not really sit there and think of how much of a pain in the ass that she has been. Yes, you could. It's just listen. I said this before. I'll sit there and say this again. The Trina character has been broken ever since Spencer left. Ever since Spencer left, it's like they didn't know what the hell to do with her, right? And like this latest level of just dumbness really didn't help the character. Didn't help the character. Did not help my enjoyment of watching her. I mean, which granted, I've never been like rah rah about Trina from jump, but like she's never been like annoying. It's just but listen, I like I said, I don't care how it happened. I'm just glad that they are, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I got so tired of just complaining about the character. Yeah, and then the whole other thing, which I'm sorry, I got to sit there and drop a bomb on to some extent. Um, which I'm not gonna lie, when certain people do it in the chat, it annoys me. But I already said this before, so I'll say this again. Yeah, that's true, Jonathan. I feel like I'm gonna be kind of a hypocrite because I can't. I'm gonna be honest. I really can't stand when people do that on some level. Ian McCoy, Ian McCoy, General Hospital, Jocelyn did not renew her contract. So we can either wind up having a new Jocelyn, or they can just kind of shelve the character for a little bit. Now, some people, and I'm not going to sit there and say names, are happy that Eden McCoy has not renewed her contract. Now, what the actress personally did, I don't know. Like why people are so upset at the actress. Um, but I guess I'm also a believer in like the show must go on. So if they gotta sit there and get another person to sit there and play Jocelyn, it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Now, I will sit there and say I haven't always liked the Jocelyn character. She's definitely pissed me off a number amount of times. She only took a small break when her mom died. However, she doesn't need to play the character for the rest of her life. What's good, Hunter? Yeah, it's really interesting, Jay Blue. I always sit there and look at stuff like that, and I'm like, I guess for me, I look at it like you have study employment. Like Hollywood is shifting so much. And granted, listen, if the chick wants to do something else or whatever besides act, that's cool, whatever. Um, yeah, that's cool. That's cool, Jonathan. Um, I that's true. That's true, Jay Blue. I guess for me, like whenever an actor leaves, I'm just kind of like, you had this nice, cushy job. You came into work. You did what you did. People liked it. People liked your work or whatever. And you're deciding to leave to do what? Like Dominic, the actor that plays Dante. I remember seeing him in a movie that just looked like. Let's just sit there and say it was a movie about him being in space, going on another planet, and fighting aliens that were vampires. Okay, so he went from being on General Hospital, long running show, to being on a movie about him going. Yep, alien vampires. Yep, that's exactly what I said. It's actually really funny, and I guess again for me, maybe I look at things and I respect that outlook as well, Jay Long. Now, Max, you remember what it was called? I know what it was called, but I'm asking you. Do you remember what it was called? I remember the Canadian drama. I literally watched all the episodes. It was very awkward in like the first season. There you go, Jonathan. Um, but like I said, I guess I look at it like, yeah, that's exactly what it's called. Telematics. Again, I remember, and listen, I guess that's an interesting outlet, and maybe it's just me, but I'm just what's good, Amber. I guess I just see the practicality and being on a show that you're getting steady work, a steady paycheck, and everything, as opposed to just the unknown and whatever, right? Um, so the actress that played Courtney on General Hospital, she left. She did a bunch of shows and movies that I don't think anyone's heard of. I remember her being on a podcast with Steve, and she was like, "Yeah, us actors are like nomads. We like to sit there and travel and be adventurous and challenge ourselves." And I'm just like, "Yeah." And how well did that work out? Now, granted, that's before I found out that the reason why she left, well, part of the reason was because of Maurice Bernard. But like, I guess I'm just like, in this economy, like I said, Hollywood is shifting so much. you gotta you gotta take it when you get a job. You gotta find a way to keep that shit. Johnson says one of the movies she did was a film called The Student. Oh, okay, that's interesting, CK. J says I recently saw an interview with Matthew McConaughey about not getting work because he didn't want to do rom coms anymore. It took him like 3 years to get work again, but he got the role he wanted. Hmm, I get it. I mean, if they do, J Blue, if they do, I guess me, I guess I look at things and I'm more of practical, safe, and sometimes I don't know. Like I said, that's true. That's true, Jay Blue. That's true. I'm only looking, that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at it from my perspective, right? Like, I mean, listen, and again, I'm not trying to shit on her or anything like that. And granted, this is before I knew. But like her doing a bunch of things that no one's never heard of, being in a bunch of Lifetime movies and some failed TV shows that whatever. She did what she wanted to. I don't look at that as like a step up, but you know, but I also didn't know the whole story either. Then he says Lifetime has some good movies. And, here's the thing: I will sit there and say, see, my definition of Lifetime movies was, the movies from the '90s. Those movies were like the men were always the bad guys of every movie, power hungry, just animals and all sorts of other things. So like, I haven't seen any movies of whatever. But like I said, I guess I look at it like playing it safe in very shaky grounds. But I would sit there and say this much, J Blue. Different folks with different strokes. Hunter says, I do hope Maxie fires Sitwell from Deception. Yeah, and then where she's gonna get her Zen then where's she gonna get that Zenkai from? Yeah, she gonna fire Sitwell and then what? CK said I heard actors really like to do theaters more so than television and movies because they get to hone their craft. Yeah. Oh, okay, all right, that's cool. I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm gonna have to check it out, Jay Blue. I mean, again, to be fair, like I have a limited amount of experience with those movies, so like I've been jaded. My perspective and stuff like that has been very jaded. I love a good Lifetime movie. Remember when Netflix started doing? Well, yeah, people said I was just talking about that, Albert. I didn't know that was a Lifetime thing. I don't have that station. Yeah, and granted, I haven't watched Lifetime in like years. Like I said, I haven't watched Lifetime movies since the '90s. again, I'm just like, and Hunter, I'm not. It's not just you. I've seen other people that sat there and be like, "Yeah, Maxie." I mean, granted, I will sit there and say this much, though, right? So Maxie's standing up to Sitwell. Laura has been sitting on her hands doing absolutely nothing. But yet she sits there and bitch and complain every time um what's his name? Every time Boyles gives her her marching orders. She gets all very like stubborn and confrontational and act like Boyles is just being very complacent. Even sat there and said, "Oh, so do you like being Sitwell's lapdog?" I'm like, Laura, you're so out of pocket. First of all, you're in the same position as Boyles. So if you're calling him a lapdog, what does that make you? Second of all this kicking and screaming and being all difficult is not helping. It's seriously not helping. You want to do something? Go to the FBI, go to Interpol, go somewhere. But again, like maybe it's just me because like I'm trying to look at it from a little bit of a logical sense. Like, where is she going to get the Zenkai from? Also, she had no problem working with Sitwell when she knew that Sitwell had a very sketchy ass past. That he was a kidnapper, he was this, he was that, he was everything and above. But what did Maxie think about? Oh wait, I have 3 kids and a house that I can't afford. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna sit there and take this sketchy bald headed dude's offer. I guess maybe know, I don't. Maybe maybe I'm just not saying something. Maybe it's just me. Jay Blue says someone was doing a parody of Lifetime movies and used the algorithm LMN. I had to ask what it meant, and then chat mentioned in every movie the man was a bag. That's how it was. That's how it was in the '90s. Well, that's my perspective of how those movies was in the Lifetime in the '90s. He's an enjoyable character. That's like I said, Jay Blue. It was the movies that I saw was just like it just always painted men in a very bad light. Jonathan Sitwell has been the smartest decision that General Hospital has made in a very long time. You're probably right, Danny Bear, and that's that's my jaded look into those '90s movies. Most of them, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember. It's just the stuff that I do remember. You know, everyone is sitting there saying that Nathan is like, he's not Nathan, he's somebody else. Which, by the way, Lisa was just pissing me off today. Okay, Lisa has been pissing me off for quite a while. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like how she treats her daughter. Okay, she is, she only came to see her daughter, so this way, she can help Nathan fix his romantic life. Like, what the fuck are we doing at this point? Daphne mistake is she should have told Electra she saw Ivory. Well, yeah, Hunter, but see, the thing is, she sat there and said, "Well, I don't want to be involved in office drama." Okay, So why would you? And my whole thing is like, if you didn't want to sit there and be involved in office drama, why would you even confront Ivory about it? Like for somebody who sat there and said you don't want to be in office drama, you made it a point to sit there and call Ivory out on that. Johnson says, I think the whole Sitwell secret project story is going to drag out into May because that's when he said the project will be completed and it may happen during the nurse's ball. Oh, Lord. Uh, you know, I I feel like I've talked about this ad nauseum. I cannot stand the nurse's ball. I really can't. Um, I don't remember if they had a nurse's ball last year, but every nurse's ball they have had has just been horrible. And the only thing that's actually made those episodes watchable is the fact that they actually have shown story during those nurses' ball. I don't give a shit about them singing or dancing or anything like that. Um, I will never find the appeal in them. I don't care how many times people will sit there and say, but they do good work. They raise money for HIV. I don't care. I think that that's great that they're doing that. I still don't care. I don't care enough to sit there and watch it. And that's exactly, and that's my whole thing. Is like, also she was really out of pocket with Nathan today. Cynthia saying, "Oh well, you don't care about what your son wants," and then when he snaps at her, she sits there and she's like, "I'm surprised you snapped at me, girl. I'm surprised he didn't snap at you sooner." Yeah, I mean, like I said, yes, Jonathan. That goes into my statement of like when they show story, right? When they show story is great. You pretty much, yeah. When they show story, it's great. You can blame Ron C for bringing the nurses ball back. It's when Jonathan, you know my issue with the nurses ball. I mean, it would be fun. Jonathan, here's my thing. My issue with the nurses ball is I don't care about their performances. I don't care about Trina or Jocelyn singing. I don't care about Ava singing. I don't care about. Listen, I, you can do all the cutesy scenes of like Sonny, singing with his father and how heart wrenching that is, and I still don't get that. I still don't get that. I know. I can't do it, Jay Blue, and I know people love the performances and stuff. And here's the thing. I'm not here to knock that. I'm not here to sit there and be like, oh, well, I think you suck. Like, hey, listen, to each his own. The story is what I generally come to when I watch these shows. Um, them doing stuff for HIV is great, but it doesn't serve. It doesn't do anything for me. You know. Um, and it's funny too. It's funny Jonathan actually brings that up. So I remember a long time ago, right? This is okay. This is a long time ago. This is when they had SoapNet, right? I remember a scene of Sunny and AJ. Sunny and AJ were in a ring boxing, I guess so. I guess so, Hunter. I mean, Lauren has her own company. Why? I mean, seriously, why would you? Okay, if you had your own company, why would you sit there and decide to work for your friend if you're essentially your own boss? Like, part of me was like, Phyllis, how are you gonna sit there and ask Lauren, who is like her own boss, to sit there and come and work for you? That's like somebody sitting there saying, you know what? Listen, Albert, I know you got a YouTube channel, but I want you to sit there and come on my channel and do videos for me. No. But yeah, I remember that, and that was the Billy Warlock version of Agent. Exactly, Denby. I'm like, no, she got her own job. She's her own boss. Well, why would she want to sit there and be punching the clock and answering to you when she damn near answers to no one? Like, what? Here's the thing. I still think that Phyllis is the dingbat, but I do like the fact that Victor is getting his comeuppance. Now, everything I sit there and say after this is speculation and rumors and just my own personal opinions. I'm surprised that they let this go on this far, where the company is stolen from Victor, right? You know, it's messed up. But Scotty is like, you know what they sit there and say like about the dad that went out for cigarettes and milk and just never came back. Well, that's essentially Scotty. He went out for some sort of mission in August of 2024 and never came back. And ever since, Ken Schreiner has been talking about it on Twitter. I'm not calling it X, on Twitter for years. You know, it's actually I'm so glad you brought that up, because here's my whole thing. If General Hospital could do that to a legacy character that has been on the show longer than I've been born, part of me is like, what makes you think that General Hospital can't do anybody else dirty? Like, people were really shocked and upset when they fired Kelly Monaco. Why? Why would you sit there and think that Kelly Monaco would get any more respect than the guy who has been on the show longer than I've been born? Like, seriously, CK, like, I don't like to sit there and, okay, but sometimes I do, but like, just talk about like drama and stuff like that. But like, it dawned on me a couple of days ago. I was like, why was people so upset with General Hospital? Talking about fire Frank Valentine. I was like, did y'all not remember what he did to a legacy character? Luke Spencer. Now, let's be honest, I don't like him for obvious reasons, but Luke Spencer helped essentially save the show. They killed him off screen. Yep, exactly, CK. Long than I was born. Um, but, Luke Spencer, you would sit there and think that, like, they wouldn't kill him off screen. And they did. Okay, cool. They couldn't get him back on. All right, it is what it is. But you don't just kill the character off screen. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Part of me felt like that was kind of personal. It part of me felt like them killing Luke Spencer off screen was kind of personal. Yeah, but I mean, they didn't have. Here's the thing: they didn't have to kill him off. And this is my take on it. Unless an actor actually dies in real life, there's really no reason to sit there and kill them off screen. So when they did that to Olivia, Ava Jerome's and Julie Jerome's sister, they killed her off screen. even the actress that played Olivia was like, wow, that's really out of pocket. Like I didn't even have close to my character. They just like that. I love General Hospital. Well, I mean, what I'm sitting there saying is, Danny Bear, it's like, again, for me personally, like, I don't think they should be killing off characters unless, like, the actor's like, no, I want you to kill off my character, whatever. Because there's no reason to sit there and kill them off. Like, why? Listen, I don't do the whole sappiness, but why can't you just give them some sort of happy ending? Unless the actor passed away. From what we understood, Luke was living in New Zealand. Yeah, exactly. Danny Bear. Because she was like, she didn't have closure towards a character or anything like that. Like, it's just like, Danny Bear, the actress that played Olivia, she also played Alex on One Life to Live. Like, she's been doing this shit for years. Homegirl actually has a channel on YouTube. Like, Jimmy says it was when he helped the pharmacist that halted Sonny's medication in the warehouse. Jason freed the pharmacist, and when Scott returned and saw Jason, he disappeared. Part of me, I would sit there. I think it's personal because Steve Burns said he would change the script, and I heard he disagreed with a writer. Yeah, like you don't. And like I said, CK, that's just me personally. Well, my whole thing was like, Alexis, what made you thought that? Okay, let me put it this way, Alexis. For somebody who is bragging to them about how intelligent she is, more intelligent than Willow, Laura never said that you were going to be Congresswoman. She said that I would recommend you to so and so you can be a Congresswoman. But it's up to that person's decision. So, Alexis, why do you think they're coming at Laura for? I like to live on GH and Alex don't like to live. Alex don't like to live was dangerous and she was also hot. But she was dangerous. Like this the shit that she pulled on One Like to Live was just insane. Oh, I didn't know that. But I'm like, Alexis, why is not there coming at Laura? Laura didn't sit there and she didn't guarantee that you was gonna get it. Alexis like, oh well, you made it seem like it was a sure thing. I'm pretty sure she didn't do that. It's actually really funny though, Danny Bear. She was before your time. She was before my time, but she was on the show towards the end. Like, the actor that plays Cody, he was on One Like to Live. He played a character named Cutter, which was exactly the same character. Um, and she was there like towards like the end of One Like to Live. I think with the show ended in 2011. So she was actually on the show for like, you know, and she came back and forth. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Danny Bear. And so Cutter, um, Alex was Cutter's mom. It's funny, CK. I got to sit there and take a look at her work on there. Exactly, Jay Blue, and like I said, she was upset about it. She was like, and that's the thing, Danny Bear. Like we watched that. I think we watched it a couple weeks ago. Um, Cutter was a con artist, just like he kind of was when he came on General Hospital. And the thing is, Jay Blue, I'm gonna be honest, Cutter and Cody are like the same fucking character. Like they act the same. Like they almost got like very similar backstories to some extent. Like they're both con artists and stuff. Joshua says, "You can imagine how mad Drew must be. Drew must have been on the inside when Sitwell told him he is losing his his Congress seat." Jonathan, I love that. I love that. I love that part of the episode. And he was like, "Yo, listen, broski, I was working with your wife the whole time. Like she despised your ass. Think about how you got there. It's because I supplied her with the medicine to keep you in this state." And then he got real with him. He was like, "Bro, do you honestly think that if you give an SOS to anyone, that anyone's gonna care? You think anybody's gonna sit there and try to help you out?" Yeah, nah, bro. I don't see that happening. Yeah, Cutter's now Carter. I mean Cody on GH. And you know the thing is, Jay Blue, I don't blame the actor. Right? I feel like it takes a lot for you to really distinguish your character from one show to the other, right? Cutter, Cody, Cody, Cutter. It's the same. He plays the character the same way. Belle, Kristen, Kristen Storm's Belle is exactly like Maxie. I mean, like she plays the character the same way. Yeah, yeah, Danny, I gotta look that up. Justin says we could have dialogue from Cameron Madison speaking to Drew from his mind. Mm. I guess One Life to Live got the better version. Okay, all right, so I guess they did cut that out. That's good. Takes good writing and the actor using usually have to put some of the effort. That's true. That's true. Yeah, and yes, there. Yeah, Katie McLean. Yes, and that's true. Delmex is 100% correct. I mean, granted, I'm talking about the actors that are very similar, but yes, there are cases like Delmex said. I'm not gonna lie, I'll sit there and say this now because like whatever, but I want to do. Oh, I want to do an All My Children Nico. Because I heard that Nico was very similar to Sunny. Yeah, it was very interesting, Jay Blue, to sit there and like. I mean, it's always interesting going back watching old clips from Like Live, but like that was crazy. Johnson says, "What I mean is, we could have true thoughts being spoken while he is in the state." Okay, yeah, yeah, yes, Jonathan. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I want to do a Nico night. I want to do a Nico night. I will say this much, Jonathan. So I wanted to do a Colin night. I wanted to do a Colin McGregor night. Played by Ty Treadwell. But like for some odd reason, it's like the internet scrubbed almost damn near everything. Scrubbed everything from his time as Colin. Like you can find a lot of Troy stuff, right? Colin was fucking crazy. because Dixie doesn't sound like Jennifer, and Jennifer doesn't sound like Pamela. She acts and moves completely different. Yeah. Yes, she did, Hunter. Yes, he did. Sitwell helped Willow get away with murder, and everyone is losing their shit. But yet, Sonny sits there and kills an FBI agent, and yet he's able to walk the streets day by day and flirt with the new DA. So, oh, okay, that's interesting. I never knew that, Jonathan. There's Rick. Yep. Rick Ricardo. And that's the thing, Jay Blue. I think like if he came in the room and he looked at Drew and having him blink and everything like that, he still wouldn't care. He still would not care. I just, here's my whole thing. I'm just wondering. Okay, I'm just wondering what does the Maxi fans. I don't know. I'm just confused by the whole thing. So like, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what Maxi's plan is. I didn't even realize it did, Jay. I'm slightly buzzed. I just don't know. Maybe it's just not making sense to me. Maybe it's just not making sense to me. So, but I already said my piece like 2 times, so I'm not going to bother to say it again. I guess I'll just let it play out and see how this whole Maxi putting Sitwell on notice. Like, what does he do anyway? Well, I guess the only positive thing I will sit there and say to the Maxi fans is that, yeah, listen, she's taking charge. She's not just sitting down and just taking it like Laura, right? I'm sitting there and essentially kind of like bad mouthing and essentially shitting on Laura for just being like, hey, I'm going to kick and scream, but I'm going to sit there and do what Sitwell says because he has me under his thumb. Maxie is sitting there taking a more proactive approach to it. Now, again, I personally find it laughable that now is the time she decides she wants to have a moral conscience and do the right thing, but whatever. Um, I guess we'll all sit there and see how that goes. But again, the thing about Sitwell is not the type of person that will just let people slide too much. So I guess part of me is like, when Maxie, here's the thing. So when Maxie starts to, um, Maxie starts to push, because remember, the reason why Maxie was in that coma was because Sitwell was like, nah, I can't have you sitting there talking, spilling beans and things of that nature. I need to put your ass to sleep. I think he wanted to actually kill her, but like, so like my whole thing is like, you know, and I get that, and I do. Actually, also knew who Sitwell was, and but like, I guess my whole thing is like, so Maxie starts doing a whole pushing back. What is Sitwell gonna do to? Here's the thing. Sitwell is a problem solver, right? And when he feels that Maxie is, getting a little too big for her britches and really trying to push him out, what is Sitwell going to do to sit there and put her back in line? 'Cause, that's one of the things I like about Sitwell. Sitwell is really great as far as putting people in line. Like he put Sonny in line, he put Laura in line. He had Dalton in line until he stepped out of line, and then Dalton wound up being 6 feet under. You know, Johnson says so. According to EJ, the person in the tube is going to shake up people's lives. Yeah, I still have not. I guess it's still. For me, it's still up in the air. But I guess part of it is just like I'm still new to the whole show in a sense. So exactly, Jay Blue, he can do it again. She get out of line. It's like, all right, cool. Let's put her ass in the coma again. But like I said, on the bright side, on the positive, at least she's doing something now. I don't know what Laura's doing. I'm very curious about because Marcos decided to help Lucas get a vial. So this way Brick could sit there and re-engineer the whole thing. Um, re-engineer like the medicine or whatever. But it's funny because Marcos is like, okay, listen, I'm agreeing with you. I love you and everything like that. But we're probably gonna get killed. Marcos, what's gonna happen? Like, seriously, what's gonna happen when Ross, who looks like he is the boss from hell, finds out that a vial's missing? What if the person in the tube is Andre? Well, the thing is, Jonathan, I don't really know much about Andre except for that he was Tony's evil twin, right? So, like, I guess for me personally, like, because I don't have the memories of who he was. I wasn't watching the show that long. Like if they sat there and said, "Oh, well, we're bringing back Colin from Like Live," I know who Colin is, right? So I have an idea of what to expect on some level, but he is an entirely a new entity in a sense. Okay, well, not exactly as fun, but you okay? All right, you're right. But my point is that I don't know Andre's trash. No need to know anyone. I guess yeah. But my point is that like I don't know what to expect because I don't know the character that well. You know. CK said Laura and Sonny need to let Scylla know who he's dealing with. I mean, Laura took down the Cassans back in the day with Luke and Robert. Sonny has been Don of Port Charles since '90s. Yeah, yeah, this is definitely a downgrade for both of them. Um, Sonny in particular, right? Like Sonny. Here's the thing: Sonny in his heyday was a badass. We watched, usually sometimes like classic scenes from like or episodes from different shows, right? Sonny was the guy that was coming in guns blazing. Um, when he worked with Reese and Manny and Javi came in town or whatever to take over and shit. Sunny was a fucking badass. Now Sunny is just not the same. And I mean that in like the worst way possible. Well, see, that's my whole thing now, right? Like, I guess for me, is very interesting because like Willow, for the most part, people have always felt like she was boring and this and that and third. She was weeping Willow and everything. But now she's not boring. Now she went from being boring with Michael Chad Duell's version to Rory's version where she is like being a villain. Not a one note villain like no, but like an actual fucking villain. So like I kinda wanna see how far they're gonna take Willow's villainy, you know? And I know they're probably gonna have to sit there and pull back on some level, right? You know? Yeah, it's unfortunately Jay Blue. I mean, granted, yes, there's all sorts of reasons of why characters start to regress and essentially be watered down for a multitude of different reasons. But it doesn't I guess maybe the feel for me is just like I remember when Sonny was a badass. I remember Jason was a badass. Now Jason is not there. Jason I saw a scene, and this was a really stupid scene, but it was fun. Y'all remember when Jason couldn't remember anything, but he still knew how to be an assassin and stuff, right? So these people, and y'all know, if y'all know, y'all know. These two people came in Jason's like hospital room to like assassinate Jason, right? Something happens where he kicks the gun out of one person's hand, and then he like grabs both of the guns and starts doing this whole like shooting thing. Now Jason is at a point where Jocelyn Jax had to sit there and save his ass because he couldn't take one person. Yeah, thank you, Danica. You remember that scene? Like it was a retarded scene, but it was fun as hell. Like, dude literally kicked the gun out of one person's hand, and it just somehow fell into his hands, and he's doing all this, that, and everything. And I'm like, when I was younger, I was like, oh man, Jason is such a badass. I gotta get some black. You remember that, right? So I have to sit there and get some black t-shirts. He went from that to being to have to be helped by Jocelyn Jacks because he couldn't take one guy. That dude was flexing like there was no tomorrow. So my point is that like there's all sorts of reasons why, and I don't care about any of them. They need to retire the Jason character. They need to retire the Sunny character. And yes, I know that Steve is already leaving, but to be honest, he kind of should have left a long time ago. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that he came back on better terms after being unfairly fired, but like some of these people they need to put out the pasture. Like I'm gonna be honest, Jay Blue, they need to start like because in our reality, like the characters like Trina and Jocelyn and Lulu and Brooklyn, like they're the future of General Hospital. And I'm not saying that they're trying to be a dick to like the vets and stuff like that, but like there's a certain point where you kind of like, I'll stay your welcome. Some of those characters, definitely outstayed their welcome. And don't get me wrong, it's nothing against the actors. I've enjoyed their work, but when you become former shells of yourself, you kind of have to start rethinking certain things. That's just me personally. Anyway, I do have to wake up at somewhat of an early time. Um, Not too early, but plus I've been up since like 2:50 in the morning. So Kelly said they will start cutting ties with characters when you get a new. So Cat Lady's being a bad girl. I'm sorry, she's being a bad kitty. I love how Cat Lady comes in right when I'm about to sit in the stream. Ah, I fucking love her. Um, he was the best returned, and yeah, yeah, we definitely gotta sit there and we go over that lucky stuff because it's time for Sunny to retire. It's been time for Sunny to retire. Sunny, Jason, and I'm gonna be honest, even fucking Carly. Yes, I love Laura Wright, but like I feel like you know they need some young blood in there. I'm not a huge fan of Emma, but like I know she's the future of the show though. They need to be like Olivia and Ned and yeah, exactly. Yes. Come in, say your highs and everything like that. Let us know that you're still there and you're around. That's cool. And you can just kind of, take your ass back in the closet or something. I don't care what you do. And the thing is, don't get me wrong. I will slam Carly, but I like Carly too. But like, you know, she's she's getting kind of up there. As far as her relevancy. Now they got her involved in that stupid ass. We got to save Jocelyn because apparently you raised a dumb daughter that clearly can't think for herself and is incapable of doing anything. And you have to treat her like she is 10. So listen. I know some people may sit there and think if you all are old, so is Carly, Jason, and Sonny. Emma kind of needs to step up her game. She's a granddaughter too. Yeah, and that's the thing, CK. Hopefully, because they got Emma back, they can do something with it. They can give her a good story, and I'm down for that. Give Gio a good story. I don't really give a damn about their sex scenes. I don't ever need to sit there and see another sex scene in these shows. I never ever 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 need to sit there and see Sonny kiss another woman because he doesn't kiss women. He eats their faces. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real. I don't understand how y'all ladies love watching Sonny kiss because that shit just looks disgusting. Hunter says Victor going to kidnap Matt next. Victor is definitely just like he's just doing shit that I'm like. Now you're just kidnapping Jack. You're fake kidnapping Lily. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Johnson says, "Will Daphne tell someone about what Ivory did?" Probably not. That's the thing though, Jonathan. Because here's the thing: she could have said something right then and there when Electra was crying, talking about that letter, and she did. Um, th- th- it's sad at this point what they're doing with Ivory, right? Ivory ain't got no man. She ain't got no friends. The only thing that she got going on in her life is to sit there and micromanage her 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 niece. Here's my whole thing with Electra. Electra is just a fucking idiot. Okay, because she clearly does not seem like she is ready for a relationship. Thank you, Jonathan. I mean, again, your dumbass when it's 2026 and you decided instead of texting this man, instead of calling him, instead of sitting there talking to him, you're gonna leave a fucking letter on a desk where he can clearly see it, and then her dumbass just waits in the showroom like, come on, Will, where are you? I don't know. Why don't you sit there and call him like a grown ass woman? I'm like, I don't think that you deserve somebody like Will. I don't know if subconsciously she just suffers from what is called pretty privilege, where she doesn't feel like she has to do anything in a relationship. But like, I remember one time when she was upset, she was like, "Oh well, I'm not gonna sit there and call him." Girl, you're gonna be sitting there waiting until hell freezes over when you deal with actual real men. Gonna write a letter, even if he did see it. Who's to say when he was going to see it? He could have been there all day. That's what I said. It's like I don't know if this chick just suffers from pretty privilege or something, or like I mean, she sit there and literally act like this is her first. Yes, have a night, J Blue. Thank you for joining. She acts like this is literally her first relationship. I mean, I get it. The chick is pretty, and let's be honest, most men are just kind of stupid when they date women like her. But like, I mean, yeah, I don't. Well, they could have probably showed RJ back before I was watching the show. And granted, listen, the new RJ is fine. Like, he's whatever. Like, the dude can act. He's acting within the realms of Bo and the Beautiful. So, like, you know, the bar can only go so high. So, I just so pretty girls make men dumb. Most men. Let's be honest. Most men. There are obviously exceptions. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I kind of figured it was probably one before I started watching the show. I wonder what happened to the other actor that played RJ. Listen, like I mean, unless he just decided to quit. I don't understand how 1 minute she's sitting there begging Electra, oh, I want you off the streets. You have to sit there and stay with Will. We're friends. We're gonna help you out. To I'm pretty sure Dylan has other friends that can sit there and put her up. Well, if she had other friends that can sit there and put her up, why was you so damn insistent on her living with Will? And then you sat there and you let your petty insecurities get the best of you because you're stupid and you're just going to listen to anything that your pathetic aunt will sit there and say to you. Oh well, you can't sit there and you can't eat with Will, and you're dancing around and your ballerina outfit and like, okay, I mean, listen, it's not. not Smith is saying those are nice images, but like you want to kick out the homeless girl because of your petty, pathetic feelings? Are you serious? Like really? Oh, he moved to New York. Okay. And this is my issue with the CBS soaps. Yeah, I remember you. I could have sworn I remember you saying that too, Jonathan. Like I said, everybody in that damn town should be apologizing to Jeremy. Like they should get on their knees and apologize. Um, I still don't like how that shit was played out. But listen, is days as much as I love days. It's just another reminder that when it counts, days has no problem sitting there just dropping the ball. But well, I mean, for better or worse, I still love the show, and I mean, hell, it's still better. Well, majority of the days is still better than Beyond the Gates. So every pissed me off telling Daphne that Will slept with someone the night before he took Alexa's virginity. Well, yeah, and that's yeah, and it's. I don't. I think you came in. I think you came in late when I said that. But yeah, it was out of pocket. Okay, for so many reasons. Because let's be honest, if the roles were reversed, she wouldn't have said that. She would have been like, no, she got assaulted. But the fact that she sat there and said that, like, oh, it was almost like Smith there blaming. It was almost like blaming him for being sexually assaulted. So I was like, so that's what we're doing, B&B. We're victim blaming. But according to them, it's not victim blaming because it didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way. I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, I love watching the soaps. I love watching B&B. But like they will constantly do things like that and remind us like just how bad they dropped the ball. For her to sit there and say, "Do you know what he did? He slept with another girl before being with Electra." I'm like, so we're just gonna sit there and revive history now? That's fucked up, but whatever. They did it in such a shitty way. Such a shitty. Exactly, Cavalier says B&B said y'all saw nothing. Yep, it didn't happen. Makers I almost feel like they are literally like they're trying to gaslight their own audience. Just as exactly the big R was done to Will, Ivy is making everything with him sound worse than it actually was. She did that the entire night while she sat there and creeped around in the bushes like a fucking creep. Like, girl, you are in like your third, like at least a good probably like 35, close to 40 without the excessive amount of makeup that she puts on her face. Homegirl is supposed to be sick, and yet she is peeking through the window, just making her comments about. And by the way, Jonathan, just in case you forgot what, thank you. Yes, that's the word of the day. This is not proper. I remember she actually even said that in a promo. I'm not gonna lie, like my whole fucking body just kind of twinged when she said that shit. When she said that in the promos, I was like, yo, Girl. Well, yeah, I will sit there and say this much, Danny Bear. There's a point where, yes, it will, Jonathan. Yes, it will. There's a point, it will, Jonathan. There's a point where he calls Ivory over, right? And Ivory starts talking about this, that, and the third, and Will's like, you don't live here. You don't pay rent here. Like, what are you talking about? You have to sit there and remind this chick, like, yo, girl, you out of pocket for so many damn reasons. You don't get to sit there and tell me who's allowed in my house and who isn't. And she sat there and she looked like, oh, okay. And that's the thing, Kylie. I'm not. Fuck it. I am gonna be a dick. I don't care. This is what happens when you don't have a man and you don't have friends and you don't have a hobby. You start sitting there vicariously living through your niece. I'm like, there's a certain level of like, okay, cool, protection and maybe a little hovering every now and then. But like when you start doing shady shit like, you know, sneaking by people's houses and taking letters and doing those other shit and constantly keeps me saying, well, I'm doing this for your own good. I'm doing this for your own good. No, you're doing this because you're fucking bored. You don't have a life of your own. Honestly, tell you the truth, I'll be honest, Jonathan, because I remember you said that before. But I personally rather just have Ivory off the damn show because you can't. I'm not gonna lie. For me personally, you can't redeem that shit. You can't redeem that shit because like we still gonna have to sit there and see it. In all reality, Wyatt is not gonna sit there and make Ivory scenes better. Well, for me personally, um, I mean yes, it will solve the electric problem. It will solve the electric problem, but we'll still be dealing with Ivory problem. So like that's not yeah that's not the way to go. Send her ass back packing to whatever part that she's actually from. I mean, to be honest, what else is she doing on the show? Ideally, yes, Kelly, you're right. I guess I'm just not as forgiving. So like again, even with the whole Trina scene today, right? Trina, her mom actually getting on the same page. Trina apologizing, seeing the light, the error of her ways. I'm still just like, yeah, I don't give a shit about Trina. Like honestly, tell you the truth, it was like, yeah, it's great because now Trina won't be such a goddamn brat. But like, it's still just like, yeah, I don't really care. I still don't really like the scenes. Um, what happened with his heart? My whole thing is like, I think the biggest insult was when the actress that plays Stephanie came back. So, pretty much kind of guide him to go to heaven. And yet he was still back on planet Earth. Like, if that was not the biggest fu, like it would have been sad, but it would have been kind of beautiful, right? If they would have killed them off and whatever, right? But that didn't happen. Like I remember the whole thing with Oscar. I'm not gonna lie, it did get me kind of emotional. When Oscar died and they had Edward and Lila came in, that was nice. it was annoying as episode up until that point, but it was nice. Yeah, it was nice comedy, but like they could have did that. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even like Oscar. Like I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even like Oscar, but like yeah. But I'm not gonna lie. Here's the thing. I was emotional. I was emotional up until when Drew picked up Oscar's body to take him to the hospital. I don't know why, but that shit took me out the scene. Like, because I felt like that was just I felt like that was over the top. Like, what are they gonna do when it's time for him to leave? How can you top that? Yeah, it was definitely a missed opportunity. Oh, when was the last time that Stephanie was actually on the? When was the last time that B&B Stephanie was on the show? You bring her back, have her speak some lines and everything like that, and for what? As bad as it sounds, he didn't go into the light. Yeah. So what? You just had her come in just to sit there and say hi to the fans? What was over a decade ago, Jonathan? You mean Oscar's death? Yeah, it's like what you. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure people was happy to see her, but like, you want to bring back a character like Stephanie Forster. Bring her back with a purpose. Bring her back with a goddamn purpose. Don't just bring her back to say hi to people. Like, yeah, that's cool, but like, oh, okay, a decade ago. What's good, Allison? Going. I mean, it's bad, but like I said, I felt like it would have been kind of beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like it would have been beautiful. But like, it just, they missed an opportunity. I'm good, Allison. I'm good. I guess we're gonna. You know me. I like to sit there and peek and everything like that. Oh, okay. Oh, that was her. Okay. It's funny, Allison. I was um I was on Dion's channel because I know that I usually see on Dion's corner or whatever. I guess he's gonna do something tomorrow. So, and yes, the noodles are actually still warm. This is why I always fuck with these noodles. Claire and Holden broke up. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That did happen. Yeah, okay. That's not new. Yeah, I got to read the whole thing. I'm not gonna lie. They kind of like skim a little bit, but that's the thing, though, cat lady. It shows you just how good these noodles are. I don't know why I'm pointing towards it, but it shows you just how good the noodles are. They're really good. I'm gonna eat some French and beans later on, but so But yeah, I was saying, he wrote a post. I kind of skimmed through it, but yeah, he essentially just sit there and say like, you know, I'm not gonna lie, Jonathan, that is a little kind of weird though. Like, you just sat there and essentially like banged your wife, and then you sit there making out with with Taylor like what a couple of days afterwards. You know, again, Danny Bear, Kyle is still sitting there trying to be with Claire. Kyle doesn't know that Claire has been with the fuck is his name? What is that guy's name? Holden, thank you. Thank you, CK. I think all that nice talk and him trying to be all gallant and everything like that is gonna go right out the goddamn window. Thank you, CK. Yeah. I think that's gonna go right out the goddamn window. You know, I'm already disappointed in Kyle for taking Claire back. The one the first time in a long time that I actually had respect for Kyle when he decided I'm not playing these ping pong games. Okay. I'm done. I got shit going on with my family. I don't got time to be sitting there dealing with your bullshit. And Claire had that look on her face like the delusion just wore off. Actually, Danny Bear, it was Holden. You know, the dude was sitting there really getting up in Audrey's face, grabbing her and everything like that. Yeah, he asked her out for dinner, and she said yes. And then I think she had to go to like L.A. whatever after that. But like, I'm like, bro, you you just literally reclaimed your fucking manhood. You decided, yeah, fuck that. That's too much of a burden, and just gave that shit right back. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. It kind of makes me think about Friday. If you watch Friday, you know what I'm talking about. But like, that's literally what happened. Dude got up in Audrey's face, tried to swing on Holden. Holden literally one shot his ass, and then he did not get back up. And then there was a massive amount of blood on the floor. But like I said, so yeah, it is. Well, like exactly, kind of like you know, Juice was Juice was okay. I don't think it was as good as yesterday's episode, but like they had their moments. Yeah, that's true, Jonathan. She's going to be giving all sorts of ultimatums and yelling at people and being all disrespectful and being the princess that she always is. Let's not always joke and sit there and say she's the queen of LA, but like she be taking that shit like to a very obnoxious level. Really says, "Is this Sheila last year on B&B? Is her contract coming out?" I gotta look into that. I mean, if you're gonna be honest, it's not like Sheila has actually been interesting in a long time. Queen B. You know, it's actually really interesting. Just on a side note, um, you know the actress that played Blair Wardolph, Blair on was on an episode of CSI Miami, and she had like blonde hair, and I'm just like man, I know fucking Blair anywhere, man. CBS soaps are CBS soaps taped in LA? That's a good question for the chat. I personally don't know, but yeah, like I said, Jeez was okay today. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't super great. Um, like I said, Liesel is just starting to get on my damn nerves at this point. I'm still I am still enjoying Sitwell. Sitwell has been very interesting. And Beyond the Gates, which we did not talk about Beyond the Gates. Well, the thing is, Allison, Maxie apparently wore her quote unquote big girl pants on. So, she gonna sit there and tell Sitwell who's boss. Oh, you didn't watch Beyond the Gates yet? Okay. I mean, we mostly talked about it, but I probably will have to unfortunately spoil some stuff for you. Not too much, but I mean, you know that Leslie was a pain in the ass because she's always a pain in the ass. Um, Cat was definitely doing too much. I don't even like Chelsea, and Cat was doing too much. Oh, Alice, no, he did put Maxie in a coma. It says Miata, I didn't watch it today. She was extra, right? Like the chick was literally spiraling out, and like usual, she sits there and tries to make shit about herself. You know, oh well, you're leaving, so like, what am I gonna do? Like, girl, I thought you already forgave her. Don't be wrong, I thought it was foul that Chelsea was just gonna up and leave and be like, oh well, I can work remotely. It's like, what are you doing? But like, y'all squashed that shit like weeks ago. You bringing that shit up because you had a fight with Eva and Leslie, and now like, what are you doing? I just, here's my whole thing. I still don't understand like what is Maxie's plan? Like, okay, cool. You get rid of Sitwell, even though um you get rid of Sitwell, which I don't know how you're gonna do that, but like, isn't it like Zinkai that you still have to sit there and procure? So like, what's going on with that? Flyquick says, was too busy, didn't watch Beyond the Gates. I heard on Twitter Cat was being a bee. What happened? She spiraled. Like she had a just a long story short, she had a back and forth with Leslie and Cat. Her usual back and forthness. Um, wanting her to go to jail for what happened with Laura. She didn't get her way, and she goes to Chelsea and starts talking about how she's gonna move out and this, that, and the third, and she doesn't want to be a third wheel. And she takes something that Chelsea said that was literally like, "Hey, listen, are you upset? Are you jealous because you're not moving in with Tomas and me and my I'm about to sit and get married." And literally blows up on Chelsea, and also act like when she left, when she was going to leave and move, she still was upset about that. Like she re-brung up an old conversation. Like it just like she was overdoing a lot of stuff and essentially picking a fight with her. So that's what happened. Was good, Big Nate. All right, all right, yeah, all right. I think that B&B was actually probably the best one personally. I think maybe GH and then YNR. I don't remember Days actually being that super great. And see, that's another thing. Like, here's the thing. I feel like she's upset with Tomas for not. I feel like she's upset with Tomas for agreeing with her that moving in was a bad idea. But I'm like, girl, you're the one that actually put that in his head. Yeah, exactly, Kylie. I mean, I'm glad that they're getting over it quite quick. Like I said, I think the whole Lulu and Nathan being like, "Oh my God, we can't tell Maxie because she's gonna be upset." I was like, "No, she don't get to have it both ways." Uh, Nathan says, "How do you feel about Dante and Lulu as a possible pair?" Um, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really care about couples personally, but I would sit there and say it'd be nice for Liz to actually be able to do stuff. I'm happy that Liz would be able to do things. Because I feel like Liz's character, like Becky, just comes in, she just gets a paycheck, and they don't have her do anything. So I'm like, I don't personally care about couples, but if it has Liz actually doing things, um, then I'm cool with it. But honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm probably gonna be a little annoyed because they're gonna do their soap opera love triangle because Rick is still in the game. I don't see why not. I don't see why not. I mean, I think if he decides at the last minute he's not going to do it, it's like I think it'd be a soap opera and trope thing. I don't know. Honestly, tell you the truth, like I can't sit there and say like how I would personally feel. I think it depends on the day. Like if I had a shitty day, then I'm going to be annoyed. But if I actually had a good day, then I think I'll just be like, oh, okay, that's a twist. So yeah, that's how I look about it. Well, Allison, Rick is also pursuing Liz. So it says if they really pushing Dante and Liz, then that means Rick and Liz weren't going to last anyway. I want to sit there and go back to the other comment. Kane being a bust on Young and the Restless. For the life of me, I will not understand why Billy, who had a long-standing career on Days of Our Lives, decided to come into a show whose essentially he does not fit the character. Okay, there's no accent. People have a problem with their chemistry or whatever. I don't know. But like, why would you leave that show to go to The Young and Restless? Why? That show is notorious for not really giving a lot of people things to do. Right? They give the Newmans stuff to do because it's the Newmans. They'll give certain people things to do because they just have a long standing. Jack and Abby and I mean not Abby. Not even fucking Abby. They threw her a bone. They threw her a really good and short bone. So Abby, your character's son is going to be kidnapped. But don't worry, I think it's only going to be for like 2 or 3 days or whatever. You know, he'll be fine for the most part. So they gave Abby something to do. How long has that chick been on that show? And they finally gave her something to do. Little Devon. I just feel like they don't really like Abby can go like what does she do? No, I didn't, and it's funny too. It's funny because like I thought about it afterwards, and I was like, man, I gotta really like read some of the synopsis and stuff to really think about that. I don't know. I think for me, Spider Quake, I don't have a worst season, right? And maybe because I'm generous when it comes towards my favorite like type of shows. It's very rare that I will look at a season and be like, well, this is dog shit. Um, so I can't sit there and think of a worse season, but like I would have to really sit there and think about a favorite season out of it. And that's my whole thing exactly on Danny Bear. And she's a fucking Newman, but like she's rarely treated like a daughter. Rarely. Also said fuck her damn daughter. Like, oh yeah, we're pulling for you, yeah, you know. And then they get a call. Oh, you got Dominic back. That's great. Like, really, really. That's the amount of measure. If it was Victoria, he would have sat there and moved heaven and earth. You can tell who's the favorite daughter. You know what? It makes me think about Rory Gibson. Remember, Rory was Noah also, and they didn't give him a goddamn thing to do. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Listen, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous when they said, "Okay, Rory, you're going to sit there and be the new Michael," right? He killed it because they gave him something to do. You know, like they gave him something to do. When he was on YNR, he was. I don't want to sit there and say he was a joke, but like the dude was definitely filming. So and that's the thing, Kelly. Imagine if they actually gave him stuff to do on you know on the Young and the Restless, give him an actual story, but they don't do that. It's like the Young and the Restless just operates like I don't know if they operates on nepotism, like people who's been there the longest and stuff. And I understand that they have to have their core characters, but like God, yeah, it's okay if you want to, what I'm saying, like even the stuff that they have Noah doing, you know, with Sienna, or he's with Sienna. Sienna is thinking about leaving town. Okay, now she comes back, like, and you know that Tamara can act. You know she can sit there and hold a scene. And I'm kind of just like, are they actually going to sit there and really bother to use her and use her time, or are they just going to sit there and pay her for a couple of scenes, and then she'll just disappear like off screen or some shit? And then you have Mariah and Tess, right? Mariah and Tess, and the bum known as Daniel. was 3 and 5 for number one. My top three is 3, 5, 7 in no order. I mean, listen, I'm glad that you can remember. I can remember the show, but like I never like sat there and like ranked them or even really thought about it like after. I never thought about it in that way. Like I always thought about the possibilities of the characters coming back on different shows or movies and stuff. So I never just looked at it like what seasons was this or what seasons was that. But I think because so much other stuff came out afterwards, that I was like, it wasn't out of sight, and out of mind, but it was like there's other things that's going on now. Kelly says, yeah, they're pushing it with them too. She's old as F standing next to Noah. I mean, I don't, I think for me, it doesn't bother me, but I know the general audience is going to sit there and constantly look at that, like, you know, and I'm not going to lie. Listen, I don't care about the age gap, but like, you telling me that they couldn't give her a better story, you know, then, I mean, think about it. Like, they used to sit there and play mother and son, and now you're sitting there just putting her on as Noah's girlfriend, even though that she played. Like, you can put her on anything else other than that. Like, that's what I don't understand. Johnson says Ezra on GH is going to be recast for 2 episodes. Okay. Oof. It's hard to sit there and say. Like, I know I'm not really giving you a lot of answers. It's just because the show. I have to literally think about all 7 seasons, right? I have to think about that. I do. Um, and it's not even so much like I have a favorite character on the show. Like they all did great. Um, I forgot the guy's name, but like he was in the first season or whatever. He was like, he was a good guy, whatever. Um, no, 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 but that's no, Kelly. He's asking me about the show, and the show. I haven't watched the show in like that show was over like years ago. So like he's asked me like who was my favorite villain on the show. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that show ended like 2012 or something. Favorite GH character of all time. No, it's not even that. It's not even that Danny Beer, but like the show was over years ago. So like I don't even have and that's the thing, like I don't even have a favorite character on the show. I'm sitting there thinking of like there was I don't remember the character's name, but like he was good in one season, and then they did this whole Hydra thing, and then you found that like he was a villain. That doesn't seem like that makes sense to me. Kelly, you stop it. Favorite character on the show. I'm not gonna lie. It's like that's the thing, Allison. Part of me wants to sit there and say, I want to sit there and say Sunny, right? So fucking, I'm gonna sit there and say Sunny, even though there is a lot of things that Sunny did that I don't like. Oh, Agents of Shield. I mean, my points right quick is that, yeah, I don't have a favorite villain, but I don't remember the character's name, but like he was good 1 minute, and then they made him a bad guy, and he tried to kill Simmons and Fitz. That's all I remember. Yes, thank you. That's the same Spider Quake. Well, okay. Here's the thing, Kylie. Here's what I'm not gonna do. Okay, and I know you're not gonna sit there and like me for this, but here's what I'm not gonna do, Kylie. Just like I'm not going to romanticize Luke Spencer, I'm not going to romanticize Sonny. Okay, I'm not going to just because I like him. I'm not going to ignore the bad shit that Sonny has done. Okay, I just won't do it. I won't sit there. Fuck it. I'm just gonna sit there and say, "What's good, Anthony?" I'm not going to sit there and ignore the fact that he took a 17-year-old girl, he put her on a pole, he gave her, fuck it, he gave her drugs. I'm just going to say it. Okay. And he said that in his words, he was trying to help her. How the fuck was you sitting there trying to help her? She came from a broken home. Yeah, I get it, Catley. Just listen, I can't do that. I can't just sit there and ignore that stuff, okay? Um, we just have different tolerances. But and that's the thing. He sat there and said he was saying that they're trying to help her. She came from a broken home where stuff was done to her. That was really fucked up. The dude has a daughter. That's the thing. That was quite quick. Yeah, I get it was a rewrite, but the point is the rewrite is actually in history now. So like, even if it was a rewrite, it still happened. It still happened. And that's the thing. Just because people like a character and they want to sit there and choose to act like that didn't happen, it happened. Oh, he has 3 daughters, and that's the thing, Allison. You have 3 daughters. You did that to somebody else's daughter. Like I understood why Scotty couldn't stand his ass. And see, you know what? Listen, this is what I'm gonna sit there and say. Like, people want to sit there and think that they're being people want to sit there and think that they're being loyal by not calling out the things that a character has done. I can like Sonny, but I can acknowledge that he was a fucked up person. And I'm not gonna sit there and act like he wasn't. Like that is absolutely insane. That was a rewrite, so it didn't happen. Yes it did. Like, yeah, it did. That's why I didn't sit there and watch that Luke Spencer um that Luke Spencer episode. Because I'm not gonna sit there and romanticize and try to and whitewash and act like he didn't do what he did. Yeah, he was a complicated person and he did he did some great things for the show and everything. Well, I'm gonna let the chat answer that because you already know why I stand on it. Allison says most Jay's characters are effed up things. Well, yeah, but I'm not being an asshole. I'm not being an asshole. I'm really not. But I'm not talking about most characters. I'm talking about Sonny. I'm talking about Luke. Like on some level, I feel it's. I remember I got into it with somebody um years ago when I called Jocelyn, and that means what? Like I'm not. I'm just asking. That means what? Like yeah, I got in with somebody because I called Jocelyn a hypocrite, and this person was like, Well, everybody on the show is a hypocrite. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not talking about everyone. I'm talking about Jocelyn. Jocelyn was really angry at Sonny because he was a mobster and this, that, and the third. Oh yeah, I remember that. Well, like I said, you know, you want to be mad at Sonny, but at the same time, you want to sit there and offer protection for Trina and use Sonny's men, but you don't like his business and what he stands for. So, it's out of pocket for you to sit there and say that. I can't listen, cat lady. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You know me. You know me. I'm not sugar. I didn't sugarcoat things from day one, and I ain't gonna sit there and start now. Come on now. You know what you're getting into when you decide to come on my stream. Yeah. Well, she didn't, but she wanted to get with Lucky, and she got him hooked on sugar to do it. So she didn't do it, but she knew that Lucky had a substance problem, and because she wanted to be with him so badly, yeah, she did. And and that's the thing. That's the thing. Dan, yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Yeah, I can agree with that. Well, like I said, I think that this person, in the comment section, she really liked Jocelyn. I think Jocelyn still is on some level. But again, she really liked Jocelyn. And I'm like, yo, listen, you can like Jocelyn, but we're not going to sit there and try to act like just because you don't like her, you can't call her out on her shit. That doesn't make you disloyal. People make it seem like you're disloyal if you say something bad about a character that you like. Um, I mean, for the story purposes, yes, Spider-Quake. If that's the case, yeah. And granted, I'm gonna sit there and stand on the island by myself, and I'm not gonna get all political because I don't want that. But I do believe that the actor should come back. I think that was actually Hunter. I think that was the only thing that was good about what you call it. I mean, and that's the thing, Allison. I understand that. I do. I just have a whole thing about the way that he got fired, right? Yes, he sued and everything like that, and that sucks. And granted, whatever. But I don't personally think he should have been fired in the first place. I think that's where my issue lies. Um, but and that's the thing I was saying, and I get that. I think again, my thing stems from the fact that he got fired in the first place, right? Like when you think about it, he wouldn't have had to sit there and he wouldn't have had to sit there and sue if he wouldn't have got fired. And I personally feel like he got fired for an unjust reason. But whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, the show must go on. I don't like it, but I understand. I get that. Okay, all right. I do actually have to get some sleep. Wow, 3 hours and 20 minutes. I haven't been streaming and like that for a couple of months, but I'll be on Sunday, so definitely come through. If you're not a member, make sure you join and become a member, and we'll have a lot of fun. I'm gonna be honest. I streamed a little bit longer because Cat Lady came in, um, so I have to make sure that you know got everyone in and had a good time. But I think you already knew that, though. But yeah, have a good night, Queen Cat Lady. Have a good night, C. Kate. Have a good night, Allison. Have a good night, Danny Bear. No, he got fired because he didn't take the COVID shot. So, um, which is a whole other thing, which we don't really need to do a whole back and forth thing. But that's essentially why he got fired because he didn't take it. Actually, a lot of people from ABC did got fired because they didn't take it. So, but yeah, have a good night, Spiderquake. Have a good night, Jonathan. Have a good night, Dolomedics. Have a good night, Blackmon. And anybody else know who you are. Laters.